We joined Tzu Chi volunteers in New Zealand as they hold a year-end distribution for their care recipients in Christchurch. Volunteers in Taichung host a tea ceremony and floral arrangement course for overseas Tzu Chi volunteers. Welcome to DaAi Headlines. I'm Mary Lee. Thank you for joining us. We begin today's program in New Zealand. Local Tzu Chi volunteers have been holding year-end distributions at the Delta Community House in Christchurch for the past 3 years. During the gathering this year, not only did the volunteers serve delicious food, they also made sure the care recipients felt the warmth of the holiday spirit. New Zealand Tzu Chi volunteers warmly welcomed their care recipients. Another group of volunteers get busy preparing hot meals for this gathering in the kitchen. Those who arrived early don volunteer vests and help prepare food. This is the third year Tzu Chi volunteers are holding year-end distributions at the Delta Community House in Christchurch.
We've been coming to your dinner for most of the year and thoroughly enjoying it. And I know that the people who are here today enjoy friendship, food. We look forward to people being here. Thank you for coming and enjoying with us.
Care recipients join volunteers in performing sign language songs. Next, a grandpa plays the harmonica to express his gratitude. Care recipients not only receive supplies at the end of the event, but also walk away with a bit of holiday spirit. Attending the 2015 Paris Climate Conference, the Tzu Chi Foundation has partnered up with a Filipino NGO and other academic organizations to share their experiences with all participants. With the cooperation in place, Tzu Chi volunteers hope more people will take action to combat the impact of global warming.
There are only 200 booths here, but organizers received more than 800 applications. To give all applicants an opportunity to exhibit their work, organizers have requested that exhibitors partner up with one another. The Tzu Chi Foundation joined hands with the Earth Savers movement and other climate change organizations.
At the booth, Tzu Chi volunteers have displayed pamphlets, folding beds, and blankets on the left side, while hanging drawings by children in the Philippines on the right side.
Earth Saver Movement 事实上在菲律宾它是一个非常
Earth Savers Movement is a Filipino grassroots organization that have been trying to combat global warming for years. In one campaign, it encouraged physically challenged people and mentally challenged children to express their thoughts on climate change through drawings. These pictures, drawn by children who were victims of Typhoon Haiyan, convey the message that comfortable living environments will be lost if people do not face the problem of global warming.
经由灾难海燕风灾开这一
Delivering disaster relief in the aftermath of Typhoon Haiyan opened the door for us to bring spiritual comfort to the disaster victims as well. Only when we work together with love can we purify people's minds, harmonize society, and rid the world of disasters. Participants of COP21 are working together to combat the threats of global warming, so to conserve and protect our environment for future generations. Next, we take a look at how the Tzu Chi volunteers share their disaster relief and conservation efforts at COP21, which drew the attention of many NGO representatives from other countries. Tzu Chi volunteers, who have long been promoting environmental protection, understand the threat of global warming. At COP21, they hope to invite more people to join them in combating the problem.
This one is for your health, the cup drinking. This is to save the life when you do CPR. That's for the shelter for disaster risk reduction. That's the best.
It can last 130 kilometers, no problem.
因为昨天的摊位很高兴，就是
We were thrilled that many people came to our booth yesterday wanting to know more about Tzu Chi. Among them was a representative of a college research institute in Paraguay. When he heard that Tzu Chi volunteers have been carrying out charity work in Paraguay, he asked us to contact the volunteers there, as he wants to join them.
Conservation takes the joint effort of all. Therefore, the volunteers seize the opportunity to share their experiences, hoping to inspire more people.
I would like to hear more from your volunteers in South Africa, and then we can sit down and see how we can empower.
Besides sharing experiences, the volunteers also made the use of film to attract the attention of NGO representatives.
其实很多人来的
Many people are first attracted by the film because it will make them stop and watch. Even if they don't understand Chinese, there are English and French subtitles.
As Earth belongs to all who live on it, we all have an obligation to protect it. Only when more people care about the environment can we reduce the impact of global warming.
Not only does warming temperatures have a major effect on global food supply, research has shown that for every 1 degree Celsius rise in nighttime temperature, grain yields are likely to decline by 10%. In Taiwan, extreme weather patterns have caused the country's agricultural losses of at least $153 million. Hence, the Crop Science Division of the Taiwan Agricultural Institute have been seeking ways to breed rice varieties which are both drought and heat tolerant, as well as shorten the overall growth period of crops. Global warming has hit Taiwan's rice production badly.
For every 1 degree Celsius increase in nighttime temperature, rice yields will decline by 10%.
Warming temperatures not only influence crop yields, it also negatively affect quality as well. The Taiwan Agricultural Research Institute has been seeking ways to improve rice quality and production and create rice varieties which are drought and heat tolerant.
我们就要去找那个耐高温。
First, we have to find a mutant that contains heat-resistant genes. Then, through crossbreeding, create a rice variety that is tolerant to heat.
Despite the sufficient supply of fresh produce and vegetables in Taiwan, come typhoon season, however, vegetable production becomes unstable. Hence, agricultural scientists are researching ways to shorten the growth period of vegetables.
Through the improvement of varieties and cultivation techniques, we can shorten the growth period of vegetable crop to allow it to mature early and ready for harvest after 70 days.
Cauliflower, which usually requires at least 90 days to mature and reach harvest, can now be harvested by 70 days. And the problem of soil-borne pests caused by high temperatures can also be solved once and for all. As the impact of global warming continue to intensify, how to minimize agricultural losses is also a challenge for agricultural scientists.
Certain types of land are suitable for farming, some are not. We should avoid those which are unsuitable for agriculture to minimize the risk of disasters.
The impact of global warming are already underway and far-reaching, and Taiwan remains vulnerable to the consequences. Hence, it is more of a reason we should cherish food and minimize waste. In the United States, a proposal to build a resort on the rim of the Grand Canyon, known as the Escalade development, has led to much controversies among the local Navajos. While the project is likely to create job opportunities in the area, many conservationists are concerned it will further deplete natural resources in the Grand Canyon.
I'm going to introduce myself. My name is Chip Thomas. My street art name is Jet Sonorama. I live and work here out on the Navajo Nation, and I've been out here 28 years working as a primary care physician. When I went to medical school, there was a program called the National Health Service Corps. It encouraged people going into health professions to work in health shortage areas. So I came out here with a 4-year obligation, which I completed in 1991. And I just fell in love with the place, with the people, and yeah, the land.
Save the Confluence is a group of families that live in this area that have home site leases, traditional customary land users. And it's been a long fight, especially the ones that started in 2009, almost 5 years now.
By 2012, the Save the Confluence issue was really starting to gain some momentum. And it's amazing working with them because, I mean, they really are open to a lot of things. For example, me writing on their faces.
I had on my face that the Grand Canyon is a sacred space that's protected as our ancestors did.
On the reservation, the unemployment rate, is over 50%. Poverty level is, I don't know how many times the national average. The teen suicide rate is 6 times the national average. What I really wanted to do was to reflect back to the community some of the beauty they have shared with me over the time that I've been here. I thought it would be cool to make an info shop rest stop. So I was just going to fill the inside of this roadside stand with information regarding the confluence issue.
And the next time he went out there, he told us that the words had been written over on our faces. And he told us he feels now the kind of oppression that we're feeling from the community that supports the Escalade.
Those communities have an unemployment rate that's probably closer to 60%. I understand the desire for gainful employment, and that's certainly how they see the proposed development. It's part of what I call the conversation or the dialogue with the community. I put something up, they tag it, I come back, add my voice to the conversation.
We're not against economic development. We are for economic development, but not in this most sacred space. We know they're in need, we know they're hurting, but we need to do this ourselves.
Styrofoam or polystyrene is a problem to the environment because it will never decompose. It may get smaller in size to the point that it is invisible to the human eye, but it is still there. The problem is, when it gets that small, it will easily end up in our lungs and stomachs. Here is more in our report.
We are on the beach of Tainan's Gold Coast. However, it is not as beautiful as its name. Beneath my feet is debris made of styrofoam and plastic waste. Discarded styrofoam floats used by the agriculture industry are everywhere.
You see, most of plastic waste here is as fine as the sand on the beach.
We can easily inhale these microplastics. Once they enter our lungs, they will cause chronic inflammation.
It is as if the shorelines of Taiwan have been covered with frost that flies everywhere. However, this frost never melts away.
Styrofoam will never biodecompose. It will only get smaller. In some beaches in Tainan, Kaohsiung, and even New Taipei City, some 2,000 to 3,000 fragments of styrofoam can be found in 1 square meter of sand.
Microplastics such as styrofoam act like a sponge and absorb toxins such as plasticizers, insecticide, PCM, flame retardants, and BPA.
The microplastics are so fine that they can be eaten by microorganisms.
Once they enter the food chain, they will eventually end up in our stomachs. Studies show that 11,000 pieces of microplastics are discovered annually in Europeans who enjoy seafood regularly. And for those who only eat seafood occasionally, the number is 1,800. Though such a study has not been conducted in Taiwan, the result can only be worse. When the tide recedes, layers and layers of microplastics are left on the beach.
Microplastics are light, so they will float above water.
Carried by the currents, no beach is safe from the invasion of microplastics. Ultimately, humans are to blame for introducing styrofoam into the environment.
Once a piece of styrofoam enters the water, a lot of algae will latch on to it, so it's really not suitable to recycle the plastic.
The recycling industry in Taiwan used to collect only polypropylene and polyethylene. Plastics such as styrofoam and PVC end up in the incinerators and pollute our air. Thankfully, due to advancements in technology, styrofoam is now being slowly recycled.
Behind me are mountains of styrofoam products that have been compressed into cubes. Inside are cups and utensils.
The compressed cube is then pulverized. The pulverized styrofoam will need to be sorted manually. After clearing away non-plastic items, it is then sent to an oven.
When the debris is exposed to 200 degrees Celsius in the oven, out comes these pellets.
The styrofoam pellets will then be sorted again before they can be made into products once more.
This is top-grade polystyrene. We can make this into a spoon. This one is of a lesser quality. We can use it to make the tray used for electronic packaging.
Currently, there are only 2 companies in Taiwan that can recycle styrofoam, undoing the harm we have done.
The responsibility falls on those who want to use the product and those who manufacture it. The government must control the problem at the source.
By controlling the production of these toxic plastic goods is the best way to limit the harm they pose to the environment. People should also adjust their habits so that they don't depend on these products so much. As the 2015 Overseas Volunteers Training in Taichung came to an end last week, some 300 volunteers stayed behind to learn more about Tzu Chi, mainly in the etiquette of tea ceremony and floral arrangement. Let's take a look at how the host volunteers in Taichung made sure the dormitory and the Jingsi Hall was in top condition to receive their Dharma relatives. Here in Taichung, Tzu Chi volunteers are making sure the dormitories for the overseas volunteers participating in Tzu Chi's tea ceremony and floral arrangement classes are welcoming.
We've set out a small heart charm to remind everyone that within ourselves we have much compassion in our hearts.
The host volunteers made sure the accommodations were suitable, including airing out the blankets and pillows and figuring out how to organize everyone's sleeping arrangements.
The room originally sleeps 6 or 7 people, but now it's going to sleep 26 to 27 people, which means all the items in the room must be cleared out to accommodate everyone.
While many of the hall's decorations are handmade by the host volunteers themselves.
To buy decorations would be very costly. However, we wanted the Jingsi Hall to look festive, so we thought we could craft them ourselves.
It's in paying attention to small details such as this that ensures Tzu Chi's humanistic values shine through. With over 300 volunteers participating in the tea ceremony and floral arrangement course, each volunteer learned something to take away with them.
Sometimes I'm hesitant to trim the flowers away, but I need to remind myself that only in letting go of attachments will I gain something in return.
Martina Lowe from the United States hopes to one day become a translation volunteer.
If I can translate a class into English, then those who don't understand Chinese can learn the art of Tzu Chi's flower arrangement as well. This will help to recruit more bodhisattvas.
Seizing all moments to gain wisdom while in Taiwan, these volunteers diligently walk the Tzu Chi path. Recently, a delegation from Hualien's Tzu Chi University of Science and Technology traveled to Hong Kong to recruit international students and signed MOUs with 4 local schools to open up more opportunities for exchange in the future.
This October, Taiwan's Tzu Chi University of Science and Technology was one of many higher education institutions invited to attend the Hong Kong International Education Expo. The programs offered by the university attracted many students who attended the event. And at the end of November, a delegation from TCUST returned to Hong Kong once again to hold recruitment drives in 5 schools.
You don't have to draw lots. We have sufficient student accommodation, and it's the cheapest too. This is because we are non-profit.
Since Hong Kong only has 8 public universities, admissions into local universities has been tougher than ever. Just this year alone, more than 6,800 international students applied to Taiwan's university, marking a record high. During this visit, TCUST also signed MOUs with 4 local schools to open up more opportunities for future exchange.
From Tzu Chi College of Technology to Tzu Chi University of Science and Technology, your instruction has taken a huge step forward. I hope to have the opportunity to visit TCUST with our students next year. The signing of this MOU is the beginning of a promising partnership. We humbly welcome your students to study in Taiwan.
This year, TCUST aims to recruit 96 international students while also providing those from disadvantaged backgrounds with financial aid. Regardless of their nationality or background, TCUST hopes to give everyone an equal opportunity to receive quality education.
Traditionally, people who suffer from bunions, which means their big toes are misaligned, will need 3 to 6 months of recovery period after undergoing a corrective surgery. However, the Taipei Tzu Chi Hospital offers a minimally invasive procedure that allows a bunion patient to recover in just 3 days. In her 30s, Peng Wen-Juan works as a stock clerk inside a market. Though she wears a pair of comfortable sneakers at work, recently she began to feel a sharp pain coming from her heels.
After standing for a long time, I'll shift my weight to the side of my feet. I also walk faster than others. Now I'm like an old person who can't walk.
After seeking out the assistance of the orthopedic department of Taipei Tzu Chi Hospital, Peng was diagnosed to suffer from bunion and needed a corrective surgery. To help minimize the impact the treatment would have on her life, her doctor recommended the new minimally invasive surgery.
The incision is only 0.8 to 1 centimeters in length. A special equipment is required to perform the corrective surgery. Due to the smaller wound, patients can recover quickly.
Just 3 days after her surgery, Peng was discharged from the hospital. However, she will have to go back a month later to remove the screws that are holding down her bone. The surgery is only for those whose angulation of the big toes is less than 35 degrees. For those with a more serious condition, they will need further treatments, including tissue reconstruction, to prevent the condition from redeveloping. To celebrate their year of hard work, Tzu Chi's media volunteers in Danshui, New Taipei City held a year-end film exhibit at the local retreat. They displayed 8 different videos that documented Tzu Chi's events that have happened this year and invited directors and producers to critique the film. That's all the time we have for today. Thank you for watching DaAi Headlines.